to the pharmacy.
When I suffer from back pain, I take Nurofen Migraine for fast, targeted relief.
When I have a tension headache, I take Nurofen Back Pain for fast, targeted relief.
When I've got a sore neck, I take Nurofen Period Pain for fast, targeted relief.
And I take Nurofen Zavance for the fast, targeted relief of my Zavance.
If you think they've stuffed up, you're right. But not because they bought the wrong pain relief. In fact, they all bought exactly the same active ingredient, ibuprofen. Ibuprofen is a proven pain reliever. It's on the WHO list of most effective, safe and cost-effective medicines. For medicines, that's like the Allen Border Medal, but more interesting. You won't find Nurofen Back Pain in any list of cost-effective medicines though, because at 51 cents a tablet, it is 70% more expensive than Nurofen Zavance, even though it offers exactly the same pain relief in pretty much the same time. And that goes for Nurofen Migraine, tension headache and period pain as well. The only difference between any of these is the price. So you three paid 70% more for exactly the same results.
Yeah!
Now that's a pain. Maybe that Nurofen Back Pain should look more like this. Because the fact is, ibuprofen can't target specific types of pain. And don't just take it from me, this white coat agrees too. Isn't that right?
Yes.
And he's like a serious white coat. His name's...
Andrew McLaughlin, Professor of Pharmacy, University of Sydney.
But the point is...
Even if you've got back pain, migraine, tension headache and period pain all at once,
you get the same pain relief from a dose of any old ibuprofen. If you did take one of Nurofen's supposedly specialised tablets for each different pain at the same time, and you shouldn't, that'd be more than double the recommended dose. Make a habit of that and you'll be on your way to the third most common type of headache, medication overuse headache.
What have we got? We found it with these. Damn it! Give me a packet of Nurofen Overuse. Nurofen Overuse for fast, targeted relief.
That one's not on the market yet, but drug companies are always looking for ways to increase ibuprofen sales. When it was first invented in the UK, you could only get ibuprofen by prescription. In 2003, it became an over-the-counter drug here. Now you can get it in supermarkets, convenience stores, even petrol stations. The company which makes Nurofen, Reckitt Benckiser, reportedly generates 40% of its revenue every year from innovations launched within the previous 3 years. That's our tablet graph, by the way. It also comes in caplet, liquid caplet, or as a gel cap. Now, Nurofen's not the only drug to use these tactics, but they are a market leader in silly gimmicks. In England, to increase emotional connection with customers, Nurofen even invented a courageous animated superhero, Neuro, who defeats a group of 5 anti-heroes, the Headaches. A fairly lame plot, but still much better than Skyfall.
Oh, Mr. Bond.
The most you can say for all of Nurofen's targeted variants is that selling something that claims to work on a specific pain might give customers something like another proven form of pain relief, placebo. But when questionable branding's mixed with opportunistic pricing, you can't help thinking that the most active ingredient of all is marketing.
No one from Reckitt Benckiser was willing to go on camera to defend those Nurofen products. But their PR company did give us a statement and asked us to attribute it to a Reckitt Benckiser spokesperson. Well, sure.
Nurofen's targeted pain relief labelling is based on evidence-based science.
And some other stuff you can read on our website. When we asked them what evidence-based science they were referring to, they sent us photocopies of some very sciencey looking documents, which were a real headache to read, but say nothing about Nurofen. They do, however, confirm that ibuprofen is non-selective. So, there is evidence-based science, it just doesn't support Nurofen's claims about targeting. The Nurofen spin doctors also say their labels are
approved by the Therapeutic Goods Administration.
Although they didn't mention that in 2012, the TGA upheld a complaints panel decision about a TV ad that found the phrase targeted relief of pain, which is still on Nurofen packs like this today, was misleading. So, if you're looking for reliable info about Nurofen, talk to a real doctor, not a spin doctor.
The Bible says, as Lot and his wife fled from Sodom and Gomorrah, his wife turned back and God turned her into a pillar of salt. Darling.
But recent studies suggest the real reason Lot's wife turned into a pillar of salt was that as a child she ate Kellogg's Crispix, with a stunning 725 milligrams of sodium in every 100 grams.
To put that in context, there's more salt in that bowl of cereal than there is in this packet of chips. Here you go, doll.
Oh, too late. We often focus on the sugar in kids' cereal, but sodium, which we normally get from salt, can also be a big problem and can lead to heart disease later in life.
Stop it!
You can find low sodium alternatives on the checkout website. Better. One of those low sodium alternatives is Weet-Bix for kids. Now, normally when I see a for kids, I'm immediately sceptical. Wow, they're growing apples especially for kids now. But in this case, there is a difference. The sodium content has been massively reduced.
Yay!
But there is a catch. I'm not quite sure how Sanitarium are removing the sodium from their cereal.
I found a bit!
But they want to charge you a lot more for it. Kids' Weet-Bix is more expensive than the regular salty one. And because you can't buy the low sodium ones in bulk, the real cost difference is far higher. So while companies like Sanitarium should be congratulated for putting out a healthier option, maybe they shouldn't be price gouging on that healthier option as well. Come on, Sanitarium. Do it for the kids.
Kirsten Drysdale to Health Foods.
Goji berries, chia seeds, acai, they're all touted as superfoods and they all come with the same steaming side dish. A hearty helping of bullshit. The pattern goes like this. Someone discovers an ancient food that some exotic tribe's been eating for thousands of years and raves about all the nutrients it contains, using that as evidence of its miraculous weight loss / anti-aging / cancer-fighting potential. The media goes nuts.
There's a new superfood in town.
Claim it to be a powerful superfood.
An ancient food, now a superfruit.
Oprah talks about it on her show, supermodels swear by it, and suddenly we're all sprinkling it on our cereal and whizzing it into our smoothies. By the time anyone's had a chance to take a closer look at the science behind a superfood, it's too late to set the record straight because a new fad's taken its place. So we thought it was time to dissect a few case studies. First up, the goji berry. Commonly found dried, in powders and juices, the Tibetan goji berry is said to improve your vision, heart health, sleep quality, libido and sexual function. It's also said to treat cancer, stop aging, fight fatigue, treat depression, extend life and, seriously, promote cheerfulness. One Australian supplier even says not to be surprised if you burst into song or infuse those who surround you with your infectious laughter after eating them. But that's not the reaction we found.
Okay. Weird.
Not too flavoursome.
Tastes like nothing.
You don't want to sing?
Why not?
Don't want to burst into infectious laughter?
No.
It all started with the 2003 book, Goji, The Himalayan Health Secret by Dr. Earl Mindell, the man considered the world's leading nutritionist by no one but him. Who is the world's leading nutritionist?
Yeah, I have no idea.
Don't know.
What if I show his picture?
No,
It's Dr. Earl Mindell.
never heard of him.
Never seen that man before in my life.
Dr. Earl Mindell.
Oh, right, yeah.
Do you know Dr. Earl? No. Maybe that's because Dr. Mindell isn't much of a doctor. His PhD is actually from Pacific Western, the unaccredited sham university in Hawaii, which was closed down in 2006. Nonetheless, goji berries got the Oprah seal of approval a year later and off they went. By the way, Tibetan goji berries aren't just from Tibet. They can be found in many parts of Asia and southeastern Europe. However, the science behind goji berries is far less abundant. In 2010, the University of Basel in Switzerland, a real university, reviewed all the available research on the effect of goji berries on human health, finding a lack of reliable data and no scientific evidence to sustain the claims made for goji juice. Incidentally, one of the studies they reviewed was this one, titled A Randomised, Double-Blind, Placebo-Controlled Clinical Study of the General Effects of a Standardised Lycium barbarum goji juice. Sounds sciencey. There are two views of this study. The University of Basel found it highly questionable, but it did get the big thumbs up from its funders, Free Life International, a sell-from-home goji juice pyramid scheme fronted by none other than...
Hello, I'm Dr. Earl Mendel.
Look, goji berries are high in antioxidants, but so are most berries. And if you are goji mad, at least buy them from a traditional Chinese herb shop, where they're sold as wolfberries for half the price. Next up, chia. Found in smoothies and baked into bread and sprinkled on salads, the chia seed is said to support heart health, stabilise blood sugar, boost your energy, mood, sleep quality and brain function, has anti-inflammatory properties, clears skin, fights cancer and depression, and will cleanse and soothe your colon. That must be why Jennifer Hawkins eats chia seeds on her cereal every day. And she definitely looks like a woman with a soothed colon. Chia seeds first shot to fame with the 2009 book Born to Run, about Aztec super athletes. And within 3 years, it was on Oprah's superfoods list, primarily because of a 2008 study that found eating chia seeds slashed hunger by up to 63%. Impressive results! Until you realise the study was sponsored by Selber Inc., the company that sells the seeds being tested. So you can trust Oprah's study, or you can trust this one, funded by a non-profit organisation and titled Chia Seed Does Not Promote Weight Loss or Alter Disease Risk Factors in Overweight Adults, which found what it says in the title. Oh, come on, choose this one. Look, chia seeds do pack a lot of nutrients into a small amount of space, especially omega-3s, and you might think that's worth around $40 a kilo. But if you're already eating well, you probably don't need those extra nutrients. Next up, acai. Available in pulp, juice, powder, or even in vodka, acai berries are said to, well, all the usual stuff. Although, that's a new one. Acai berries were discovered in the Amazon by these guys in 1999.
At Sambazon, we're all about Amazon superfoods that deliver next-level nutrition.
And next-level beards. But the real next level you want to get to is Oprah. After it was named the #1 superfood on her show in 2005, it only took 2 years for acai product sales to rocket up to $13.5 million per year, while acai science remained at a steady level of virtually none. Reolife and BioGlan are happy to point out acai's many health benefits via their supermodel buddies. But when we asked them to point us to the science behind those claims, well, BioGlan flat out ignored our calls. Rude. Reolife sent us a list of 39 acai studies, which is impressive, unless you read them. Of those 39 studies, 3 were just articles, not studies. 17 didn't test the health benefits, they just analysed the nutritional makeup. And 3 of those looked at how good acai was as a dye. 12 were done in petri dishes or on rats, mice or female flies. 5 were market research papers on things like how best to sell acai juice to West Europeans. And a grand total of 2 were actual studies on the health benefits in human beings. So let's look at those 2 human studies. The first one found that 12 people had more antioxidants in their blood just 2 hours after drinking acai as part of a mixed fruit and berry juice full of antioxidants. Convinced?
No.
No. The other human study measured higher levels of antioxidants in 11 people after they ate acai pulp and found the same effect after they ate applesauce. Interestingly, when Choice tested super juices, they found there were more antioxidants in a bog-standard apple. Can we just stop for a minute?
Sure.
Can anyone here actually explain to me what antioxidants are? They seem to be the primary source of superpowers for all this stuff. No one?
Green tea?
Fine. Antioxidants is a general description for the thousands of substances that can stop free radicals, these nasty little buggers that can damage human cells. In the 1990s, scientists started testing whether antioxidants could therefore limit disease and improve health, which led to an explosion of hype before any of those results came in. Unfortunately, the reality has turned out to be somewhat disappointing. The problem is that antioxidants behave differently when they're in test tubes to how they do when they're in the human body. Evidence of their benefits is very limited and specific. So if you're one of the few people at risk of age-related macular degeneration, or if you have skin cancer and low levels of selenium, they might do you some good. As for everyone else,
eating lots of fruits and vegetables and whole grains can help prevent a variety of chronic diseases, but it's very unlikely that eating high doses of antioxidants can do the same thing. In fact, some studies suggest that high doses of antioxidant supplements may actually increase cancer risk.
And if that's not good enough for you,
we reviewed a decade's worth of research and found that maintaining a healthy weight and cutting down on smoking and drinking are far more important for warding off cancer than consuming extra antioxidants.
And that research involved
over 1 million people.
So what does this all mean? Well, there's nothing bad about these foods. They're all perfectly good foods, just like these ones. But there's no such thing as a superfood, just super marketing. If you take away the fake doctors, the Amazonian hippies and Oprah, all you're left with is paying extra for...
Not too flavoursome.
And that's a bit hard to swallow.
Dear Nestle, as the devoted owner of a cat with chronic fur balls, Ralph, I was delighted recently to buy your Purina Supercoat cat biscuits furball with salmon flavour, specially formulated to prevent fur balls. Sadly, after eating furball with salmon flavour, Ralph is still Ralphing. Disappointed but not discouraged, I bought another Supercoat flavour, kitten with chicken and rice. Opening the pack, I couldn't help thinking that kitten with chicken and rice biscuits looked suspiciously identical to furball with salmon flavour. Investigating further, that may be because the ingredients in furball with salmon flavour are exactly the same as kitten with chicken and rice. Oh, except for one thing, furball with salmon flavour contains no fish, whereas kitten with chicken and rice contains both fish and fish byproducts. It doesn't, however, contain any rice. Indeed, while the entire Supercoat range has colourful names and claims like indoor with real chicken, specially formulated for less active indoor cats, the ingredients are all strikingly similar, sometimes exactly the same. It's almost as though you shove handfuls of miscellaneous biscuits indiscriminately into boxes and send them off to a poet with a label maker. You could perhaps save some money by slapping every box with a sticker that simply says crunchy. But if you do persist with these nutritionally imaginative names, please sleep on them. Furball with salmon flavour rather suggests that the biscuits taste like furball, which is a bit wrong. Although not as wrong as kitten with chicken and rice or senior with real tuna, which I found particularly threatening. Yours, Angela, 68.
Hi, my name is Dan Ariely. I'm the James B. Duke Professor of Psychology and Behavioral Economics at Duke University. So I want to think about money. As consumers, that's what we do. We spend our money. How do we decide what's a good thing to spend on and what's not? And usually what we do is when we look at the category, we end up comparing things within the same category. Think about the restaurant. When you go to a restaurant, you're probably comparing appetizers to appetizers and dessert to desserts and main dishes to main dishes. Now, of course, money is not about comparing similar things. Money is about comparing one thing to all the possible other things that we could consume. When you think about buying something, you should ask yourself, what else can I do with this money? Now, that's the rational thing to do, but it's very, very hard. So instead, I want to propose a slight shortcut for that. Imagine you made a list of things you really like. And every time you look at some new purchase, you ask yourself, how much do I want this compared to these other things? And if you figure out that you prefer this new thing, go ahead and buy it. But if you realize that you would prefer the other way to spend the money, maybe you should not buy this particular new thing that is standing just in front of you and use the money for things you actually want to a higher degree.
Want a healthy snack? Trail Mix. It's the delicious healthy snack for people on a trail. Or people who like to mix. But maybe not here. With 4,000 kilojoules, 43 grams of sugar and 60 grams of fat in this bowl, it's got all the energy you need to get through about half a day. This bowl, by itself. Or, to get rid of all that energy, you'd have to spend 20 minutes doing each of these. Trail Mix. It's for trails.
If cinemas were gyms.
Hey, just one ticket to the 7:30 session, thanks.
Oh, sorry, we don't do single tickets, only memberships.
Memberships? But I only want to see one movie.
Yeah, we know, but it's $48 a fortnight, and there's a joining fee of $200, which I'll waive for you, and a $100 admin fee, which I'll also waive for you, which just leaves the $150 waiving fee. But don't worry, because that gets you one free session with Steve here, who'll help you through your first movie.
I've seen a movie before.
Yeah, but you haven't seen a movie with Steve.
Yeah, look, I don't know.
Just sign here, and we'll roll it over until you remember to cancel it, hey? Welcome aboard. She's all yours, Steve.
Yeah, hi. Look, I'd like to cancel my membership. No, you know, I never come in and... No, look, Steve's lovely. It's just... No, I haven't forgotten my goals. Well, I'll be in for another session soon then, I guess.
You know, all these products are sold the way they are because of years of psychological studies done on consumers like us. I wonder, if shoppers better knew those studies and the tricks of the trade, would it help us to make better purchasing decisions?
Economics is based on the idea that we're all rational consumers, that we weigh up a product and its cost, and we come to the right decision based on what will maximise our pleasure. And yet, I just bought this Justin Bieber singing toothbrush. So I'm going to risk shopping again, but this time I don't want to do it through my own eyes and make the same mistake. So I brought along an expert in psychology and marketing to see what it's like shopping through his eyes.
Hi, Craig.
Hi, Paul. Let's go shopping.
So who's this?
Oh, sorry, that's my kid. Is that okay?
Well, it's just been shown that children tend to influence their parents quite a bit at the point of purchase.
Oh, I don't want that. Here, you stay here.
Yeah, but you can't just leave him here.
But I just gave him a Justin Bieber toothbrush. He'd be fine. Got to get some stuff for a barbecue. Should I just get the cheapest?
Well, you could, but studies show that people equate low price with low quality.
So should I get the most expensive then?
Most people think that the most expensive is best, but Gerstner suggests that's not the case.
Well, that's why I didn't invite Gerson to my barbecue. OK, look, what about forget price? I'll go for health. This one, look, low salt. Should I get this one?
A recent study, though, found that people who see labels like low salt tend to think it won't taste as good.
Really? Well, I'll just take this off. And it's healthy and tasty. Now, I need to get some coffee.
All right, so what kind of coffee do you like?
Strong, not too bitter.
Oh, OK, so what you need to do is buy a coffee that advertises itself as not bitter. Studies show that when people see a coffee advertised as not bitter, it tastes less bitter.
So the ads actually change the taste of it?
Yep.
That's ridiculous. But I can't think of any coffee ads that include bitterness. They're all just about starting conversations and crap like that. Forget this. Ooh, look at this. This is great. Look at all this choice.
Actually, Sheena Iyengar's...
Sheena Iyengar? You're just making these names up now.
No, studies show that I never do that. Sheena Iyengar's studies into choice found that when people are overwhelmed by choice, they tend to give up and not buy anything.
Well, I should get this while it's on sale, shouldn't I?
Yeah, when we're overcome by choice, we tend to use words like sale as an easy out.
Oh, OK. I'm not going to use the easy out. Free. Free conditioner. Free's got to be good.
Well, except that the word free affects your decision-making. See, now that you know that you'll get something for free, you feel like you'll miss out if you don't buy it, and we actually feel the pain of loss more than the joy of gain.
But this is a good one. Look, it's silky.
Well, studies have shown that irrelevant attributes like the word silk tend to influence the brands that we buy.
So what are you saying?
I'm saying you're doing exactly what the marketers expect you to do. You're just as irrational as everybody else.
I am not going to be irrational.
I will shave my head. Oh, I've always wanted a shirt like that.
Yeah, you do realise that we actually think that purchasers will make us a lot happier than they actually do.
Well, I'll just presume it makes me unhappy. Can I just try it on?
OK, but they are playing quite loud music in there, and if you haven't been in that store before, you could suffer from ego depletion.
It's OK, I'm really up myself. Don't worry about that.
No, it's not that kind of ego. It's a form of sensory overload. It puts you under pressure so that you're more likely to respond to suggestions from the salesperson and buy familiar brands.
Can't I just go in the shop, please?
Yeah, Craig, just before we go in, how are you feeling?
To be honest, Paul, a little bit annoyed.
Bad mood will influence how you evaluate products.
OK. I'm actually really happy, Paul.
And a good mood influences how you evaluate products as well.
I'm neutral, Paul. I have no mood at all. I just want to try the shirt on. Is that OK with you?
Hi, can I help you?
Hi.
Oh no, she smiled at you. Even something as small as a salesperson's smile can affect your mood and influence your purchase.
Well, what do I do then?
Well, how attractive do you find her?
Reasonably attractive, I guess.
Oh dear. Attractive salespeople tend to induce a stronger desire to purchase a product. Unless, of course, you're a woman, and if you found her a little bit too sexy, you wouldn't buy the product at all. But because you're a man, if you'd actually thought she'd worn that item of clothing, you'd be willing to pay more for it.
Who thinks that I'm going to think that she's been wearing the clothing I'm trying on?
Argo et al., 2008.
What do I do then?
Turn away now. Oh, no. Clark, Milberg and Ross say that arousal and happiness place a positive mood on subsequent judgments.
Forget Clark and Milhouse or whoever, I'm not aroused. Okay, maybe a little. I think we should probably get out of here. Hang on a second, I need to get a new phone, okay? And I know a lot about phones and a lot about phone contracts. You just stay out here. I don't need you to
hang on.
with me.
Yeah. But the Dunning-Kruger effect tells us that the more ignorant you are, the less likely you are to realise it. So maybe you think you know a lot, when in fact, actually, you don't know very much at all.
I'm not ignorant about phones.
Well, that's what an ignorant person would say. In reality, ignorance is invisible to those who suffer from it.
I won't buy a phone. I'm too stupid to buy a phone. I'm too stupid to buy a phone.
Well, no, I'm not saying that. Craig, I think you should probably come and we can have a look at the phone.
Please come to reception if you have a lost child who has a Justin Bieber toothbrush.
Now, Paul, I need to buy a speaker, and I'm not too happy or too sad, and I'm going to avoid anybody's smiles. I've researched this a lot, and I know which one I want. I've read reviews from disinterested third parties and experts, and I'm not going to be upsold, and I'm not going to be tempted by a discount, and I'm not too ignorant to know that I'm ignorant, and I'm not just saying that because I'm ignorant. What? This is a totally rational purchase.
Yeah.
Why are you looking at me like that then?
I'm just wondering how you're going to pay for it.
I don't know, credit card, I guess?
Yeah, I thought so. Credit makes you more likely to overspend because it distances you from the pain of payment.
It's not the payment that's causing me pain, Professor Know-It-All. What about if I use cash? Will that make you happy?
You're the one who's buying the speaker to make you happy. Using cash makes you more conscious of the price and that reduces your pleasure. Well, that wasn't very rational.